God bless America. It is the country that just keeps on giving. It's like a news factory. Like nothing compares to the United States. Hello and welcome to the What Did I Miss podcast, the show where one of us avoids the news for 1 week and the other person fills them in on what they've missed. My name's Tyke.
And I'm Matt. We're two brothers from Ireland who have a laugh when one of us finds out last week's news. Hello and welcome to the What Did I Miss podcast. We are back with a brand new season.
Hello, welcome back. We have a fucking whopper episode for you today.
Really, eh?
Whopper. Like double Mac whopper.
This is funny because there's been fuck all news since we went off, really, hasn't it?
I swear, it's like it was waiting for us to get back. Because as soon as we finished, well, this is season 3, first episode. When we finished last was just when the election finished, about 6 weeks ago.
The US election, in case you live in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Everyone knows the US election. I was actually thinking that what would our show be without the United States? Like, God bless America. It is the country that just keeps on giving. It's like a news factory. Like nothing compares to the United States. Like,
that's a good way of putting it, a news factory. Like, you wouldn't have OJ in Germany. You know what I mean?
You always have to bring it back to OJ.
He's the pinnacle of the news. Like, come on.
Got better this week. But before we get into all the juicy stuff of this week, how are you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm good. Like I said, good to be back.
Did you have a good Christmas?
No. It's COVID still going on, so, you know, now we're just back and doing our lockdown, so this is very much the highlight of my week.
Let's be honest, it would have been anyway. But yeah, definitely good to be back.
Yeah, so we are back. It is January 10th. I've been off the news for a week. And just to let you know, if you're a new listener, we have our nice studio, state of the art, top of the range, shed out the back garden. So it's a nice space to record in, but it's not very soundproof. So if you hear the ambience of a few birds chirping, dogs barking, or boilers boiling, we apologise, but we'll do our best to take them out. So, Tyg, what happened last week?
Oh, what didn't happen? Literally, what didn't? I'm not going to blow me load straight away. We'll start with
See, you picked up episodes before, but then there was like that episode where the US said they had alien aircraft that's not of this earth, so I'll let you away with your building it up here, but my expectations are high, you know.
Literally, get higher, like, get Snoop Dogg high. But no, yeah, like I said, in all their episodes, I think we'd always blow our load straight away, so we'll leave the main news for a bit. Get into Julian Assange.
Julian Assange. Yeah, he was... Because I stopped looking at this from last Sunday, so I know that he had his court date on Monday. So how did he get on? Did they just like bend him over?
He's in Guantanamo now getting waterboarded.
We've decided to bring back the guillotine. It was actually in that COVID relief bill that nobody read. So how did Assange get on? Would
you believe they didn't extradite him?
Fuck off, really? No way. I'm telling you, man, 2021's going to be the year. Everything's turned around.
We've only started the episode, calm down. Yeah, they didn't extradite him because they said the US couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't commit suicide in a US prison.
Excellent. That's the best reason ever.
Yeah.
So did they mention Epstein?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They're like, oh, Jill St. Maxwell hasn't killed herself, you know. But they just said it was on mental health grounds. Apparently, I don't know if
says the UK that's locked him in the Ecuadorian embassy for 10 years, and then spreads
to be exact. I think
maybe 10 years. Spread stories about him spraying shit on the walls and all. You know what I mean? Monitoring everything, even the women's jacks, even the women's toilets in the embassy was like recorded, like, so no privacy. But go on.
Yeah, so it's still up for appeal, which will come later in the year.
Who would do the appealing? The government or the US government?
The States.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, it's still not out of the woods yet, and they haven't released him on bail, which is interesting because you're saying, you know, this guy is mentally fucked, but they haven't released him on bail. But like, he is, you know, he's a flight risk, which is fair enough. Yeah. But then at the same time, like, you know what I mean, they probably have a satellite just for Assange, just to see like if he leaves, you know what I mean? They could track him every inch of the way. Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go.
I'm really shocked that they didn't just...
I was shocked.
Didn't just, ship him out. I bet you not, right? They put on appeal. They don't want to give him the Trump, they'll give him the Biden. And then when Biden becomes president, it's like, oh, we've got a special relationship.
Yeah, could be. I'd still be surprised if he got away with the appeal.
Yeah.
I think Mexico offered him asylum. Mexico would be the last place I'd go. not because like Mexico's lovely, but so I hear. But I mean, just because it's so close to America, like you know what I mean. I don't know if he's allowed back in Australia.
Yeah, Australia would be the last place I go. They'd ship him off to America now, whatever.
Yeah, they would. They're America light at the moment.
So did they say when his appeal is?
Just said later in the year, so they didn't give a date. I don't believe. I might be wrong on that, but no, from what I've seen, it could be a good while. Right, so there's just one great photo of him giving a wink and a thumbs up. Just goes so well with the whole story. You can see it on our Instagram if you would like. In the least shocking news of the week, Kim and Kanye are getting divorced.
No way. Yeah, is it because you voted for Biden?
We can't say no way on everything. I don't know actually. You know what I mean? Like your bar has to be a little bit higher. Because that's always our reaction when we hear the news. No way. I don't know. It definitely the election didn't help because like your wife not voting for you.
That's a real vote of no confidence right there. Like, I want you to be the father of my children, just not the president of my country.
I think that's fair. I think a lot of women would say that about their husbands.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, my God, he can't even do the dishes.
You can fuck up little Billy here, but don't go after the States. Did Kanye break up with her?
She broke up with him.
Obviously.
Really?
Yeah, Kanye's a nut job. She's probably tired of fingering him in the ass. If you haven't heard, he's into that.
How do you know?
Because, what's her name? You know that one that was going out with Wiz Khalifa as well? Amber or something?
Yeah. Really, yeah.
I can't remember, yeah, but she was saying he loves it. Like, loves it,
yeah.
Which is gas. I don't know if he's ever actually talked about it publicly. But
I doubt it. Like,
but he's so caught up in his own head that once he knows that's public knowledge, I'd say he'd find it hard not to talk about it. Like I say, if you actually went looking, I don't want to Google Kanye West get fingered in the ass, but if you want, I'd say you could find some news of that. But
possibly, yeah. Like say Kim Kardashian gets her nails done a lot, and you know,
I'd say it was after that
kept breaking the nails.
Get away from me, baby! Your fingers smell like shit. I'd say it was after that 40th birthday present that he got her. Remember?
Oh yeah, that was fucking nuts. We talked about that in the last season.
Yeah.
Do you want to recap people in case they don't know?
He got a hologram of her dad wishing her a happy birthday, but you have to watch it. Like again, go back and listen to the episode because he says some weird stuff in it. Apart from saying that every time you hear a fifi, which I think means a fart, means that he's around.
I think Urban Dictionary actually says it's a fanny fart. No joke, like.
But then, later in that same video, her dead dad in the hologram says that he's so proud of her for marrying the most genius man in the whole world. I might have left out a couple mosts there. Like I'm actually not even messing.
That's grounds for divorce anyway. Like that alone.
I wonder will his next album still be gospel or is he gonna get angry? You know what I mean? I hope he comes back with a little attitude. You know, his music might get better.
Probably not. He's just like he hasn't done anything good since graduation. Like
it's true.
He's just gonna call it divorce now. Who has more money? I wonder. I'd say she does.
Oh, he does definitely. Yeezys and all the runners.
Yeah, he does. What's he selling them fucking t-shirts for like $2,000 and stuff?
Yeah.
All them California
worth a lot. I'd say also the way she just went 40. I'd say she's having that like. You know what I mean? Like she's pretty hot and she probably will be for till she's 70 because the money she has. But I'd say she's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Kanye was nice for my 30s. Now I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
It might also be because he's not as big a superstar as he once was. Like, I'm just presuming the way she thinks. Maybe she's a lovely person and really did it for the money. But I'd say a large part of how she picks a boyfriend is his status. And when they got together, like Kanye was easily the biggest celebrity in the world. Like maybe, you know, up there, top
biggest
5.
Rapper in the world,
top 5,
musician,
like, arguably the biggest, like.
True, yeah, he's definitely in the conversation, but now he's a bit of a joke, like with his mental health problems and then running for office and stuff like. And I say if he's pretty serious about running in 2024. She's like, fuck that.
Well, that too.
Oh, yeah, not being first lady. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a very good point. Even like he's never going to get elected, but like, you know,
Isn't he
it's still a lot of work. Like, you know, still got to go to fucking buttfuck nowhere and stand on a stage and wave your hand. You know what I mean?
I'm up for buttfuck, but not buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah. Oh no, the divorce should be interesting anyway.
Yeah.
But like nobody's surprised. Like, I should have done a pool. I would have bet my fucking whole life that it wasn't. God, they weren't gonna last more than 10 years. Like,
Northwest is like, I'm surprised.
They just have the one kid, did they?
I have no idea.
So yeah, that's all on them.
Best of luck. Oh, I can't wait. Kanye back on the scene.
Alright, that's enough foreplay. I'm about to blow my muck. I just need to talk about this story.
Wait, hang on. No, it's a little bit blown up. No. What's up?
Scenes, absolute fucking scenes in the US.
Like I said,
Scenes.
always in the US. What happened?
What didn't happen, man? What didn't? So, on Wednesday, Biden got confirmed as the president because there were still a couple of challenges.
Right.
So this was on Capitol Hill at the Senate. So massive protest, obviously. And yeah, they fucking stormed the building. Like,
Yeah.
they proper stormed the building. Like,
What do you mean? Like,
what do you mean here? I'll show you a picture. Right, 1 second.
go on, the lads.
Like, look at that.
No way. Go on, the boys. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm showing Matt some of the pictures from during the week of when the Capitol Hill was stormed by rioters, or an insurrection, as Biden would say.
Is this all the truth? No way.
Climbing the walls.
What?
This is the video. This is the picture of them with the fire, like, on Capitol Hill. Like, look at all those people. Like,
This is gas.
this is fucking wild.
What? What took them so long? Like,
His lads with the guns out actually in, because they were actually still, because they were the house was sitting at the moment. They were all in the fucking thing at the time. All the politicians were in the house at the time.
no way. This is
So
bad.
yeah, like, I think he shot someone to death. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
someone died.
5 people died.
What?
5 people died.
Yeah.
That's Nancy Pelosi's office that your man has his feet up in.
Fucking madness. What the fuck, man?
This guy stealing the podium. This is what I'm showing Matt now, is the guy stealing the podium. You know, everyone would know him with the little smile and the wave. And yeah, just absolute chaotic scenes. Chaotic scenes.
This is mental. For so many reasons. One, because we've been expecting this the whole time. Like, we were even worried. Because we ended at the end of the election. And we were
our
like,
second season, yeah.
yeah, our last episode was right after Biden got confirmed, and we've been expecting, like, I done our best bits episode. I was the one editing it, and the amount that we bigged up the fact that it was going to kick off after the election, I was like, geez, we went a bit overboard.
Yeah, no, you actually said that to me. We'd even said, like, we were like, oh, we predicted the Civil War way too much.
And then nothing happened.
Nothing happened, and then yeah,
like,
culminated in this, like, the week of.
We take 2 months off, and then it's like they waited for our first episode back.
Well, like, you know, I mean, we did make sure, like, we would have came back at this time anyway, but because I knew that this was going on, like, do you know what I mean? Like, during this was predicted well in advance. Like, even on Tuesday, I didn't tell you what, but I was like, make sure you keep your fucking head down, like, you know, to avoid the news. So it was. What I mean is not that much of a coincidence. Like, I would have made sure we would start it back this week, because there was a good chance of this happening. You know what I mean?
Alright, well, I didn't know in advance, so I'm just saying I could just come back in and I hear, oh, it's kicking on. It's like, one of the boys, USA, USA.
It isn't. You know, it's not. Right, I'm going to bring this back to the start, right? I shouldn't have went straight into the pictures.
No,
you got you too animated.
Yeah, that's fucking. Hang on, maybe you've had a week to sit on this, but the lads storming Capitol Hill.
No, it is
that
fucking
is crazy. Like,
I'm not saying it's not crazy, but what I mean is, it's not necessarily a civil war. Is all I'm saying.
I did not expect civil war. Like, fucking, they don't look very organised. So, when's the handover? When's the inaugurated Biden?
Trump might get impeached. There's 10 days left, and there's serious talk of kicking Trump out of the White House now, because he's getting all the blame for this. because he on the morning on Wednesday he had a speech. And, like, nowhere did he say storm the Capitol, but he was like, you know, they robbed the fucking election, you know, he got them all riled up, and he said, come on, we're marching down, and got everyone to walk down, like, and...
Really? He led it?
No, he didn't lead it, but, you know what I mean?
He tweeted it.
No, he told them, but he can't tweet anymore. He's been deplatformed off everything forever. Forever. He's not on anything. Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify. There's an app called Parler that's like social. I've never heard of it before, but apparently it's, you know, they call it free speech social media.
Yeah.
But Google and Apple have taken that off their apps just because it has Trump on it. YouTube is banned. Like, YouTube's banning everyone. We'll get into that as well. Like, fucking.
This is crazy. Like,
this is.
For what happens to Trump afterwards? Because we were like, I predicted that he wouldn't go down quietly, you know what I mean? He would get like a strong media following and just become like a Rush Limbaugh or something, you know what I mean? Like a radio personality, which I think from the sounds of it, he might still do. There'll be some radio station or something that'll give him a...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's impossible now. Like, Trump is done. Like,
yeah, but some right-wing fucker will give him a platform somewhere. Like, even if it's pirate radio, like, they'll try to... But I just mean, this makes him bigger. Like,
no, it really doesn't.
Hang on, I'll see afterwards, but I think them trying to silence him will make him bigger, because this just makes all his fans and stuff, you know, it's more evidence of the conspiracy against him. Whereas if you just let him, like right after the election, the reason I was so kind of disappointed and deflated was just because it didn't kick off like this, and because Trump just started to become like a bit of a joke, do you know what I mean? Like, he just, no one's really taking him seriously. Like when he was tweeting and he was like, he still is the president, but you know, he had lost the election, so, you know, just all his tweets and stuff, they just overnight kind of went from being presidential to the ramblings of a madman. And, you know, maybe a bit unfair to call him a madman, but you get what I mean. And that's where I thought he was going, but this kind of legitimizes him, I think, you know? No,
you're completely misreading the room, honestly. Like, Trump is done. Like, you're missing the mark here a bit. I think I need to recap what happened during the week a bit more.
Cool, yeah, fill me in, start to finish, what happened?
Yeah, I'll start from the start, just before we start, like, really getting into it. Like,
yeah.
So, there was still a slight chance that they could have objected to the election. Now, I'm not sure exactly how. There's too much legalese involved. You know what I mean? But there was still a chance that Trump was calling for them to contest the election. I think specifically in a couple of states.
Yeah.
And during the day, Mike Pence actually said no. So him and Trump have completely fallen out.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, like, what is basically happening is Mike Pence seen the sinking ship and jumped boat. Do you know what I mean? But so... Fair. Yeah, so basically they confirmed the election is what happened. The Democrats won the Senate as well, which is a really big deal, because no matter who you like, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, it's good for US politics, especially on an international consideration, that whoever's in office, it doesn't control the Senate, vice versa. You know, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, because it just gives more balance. So now the Democrats have both, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. So that also happened during the day. So yeah, Trump was basically just giving out that they weren't contesting it. Like a couple people were, but basically they just...
The Republicans were just went backing them up, is that what you mean? Like,
yeah, pretty much. So then Trump had a speech, they all went down, marched down, but the fucking police, man, there was no police. Like, but fuck all. They shouldn't have got... Like, I warned you the day before to keep the head down because the shit could get mad. There was no police. Then there's a video of the police opening the fucking gate and letting the protesters in. No joke, that's widely shared. Google it yourself. I shared it on our Instagram story. You can actually we started on a YouTube. If you want to check out the What Did I Miss podcast on YouTube, you can find the video there. But if you search it, it's easily available. The cops opened the fucking gate to let everyone in. Then there's contrasting picture of when the Black Lives Matter protest was at Capitol Hill, and there's rows and rows of fucking National Guard with fucking like guns ready to go. Like, none of this. They had police, like just normal ass police, and they were, you know what I mean, completely understaffed. So they just easily just overran them and got into the fucking into the building, like super easy. Like not on a normal day. On a normal day with this possibility, you'd cordon off miles around the Capitol Hill. You know what I mean? Now there's one reason why Trump does control the National Guard. So Trump does control the National Guard, so you could... So there's a legitimate argument that he's the one that said not to have them there.
Golf game today, boys.
yeah. But it's actually like the National Guard and even Trump, because DC has such specific individual rules, that it's actually up to the DC mayor. And he was the one who gave such a relaxed, police presence.
Really, yeah. Maybe he just didn't want to stoke violence. Like, I'm just trying to think. Maybe he was just like, so if some people come and let them protest, but, we don't want it kicking off. We don't want it.
No, personally, and it's not even like, fuck, I don't care if it's a conspiracy theory. Like, they wanted this to happen, hands down. Like, it's not just me being like a conspiracy theorist. Like, they let this happen easily, right? Because Trump is done now. There's no way he can go 2024. Like, not only is he going to be impeached, like, he might go to fucking jail for this.
Well, he didn't do it. Did he not?
That doesn't matter. Like, they say that he incited the violence. Like, he didn't say storm the building, but he did, like, by questioning the legitimacy of a potentially rigged election. You know what I mean? Like, he stoked the fires, like, so then they stormed the building. This woman gets shot in the head.
What?
Fucking shocking video. Like, I've actually seen it. I didn't want it. Got sent to me, but yeah, so a woman gets shot. You know that picture I showed you where there's a couple of lads out the window?
Yeah.
He shot her there. It wasn't even like they were face to face with each other.
Well, I was just about to ask, because that's how far they got. They got right to the building, or they got right to the room where all the senators sit. How much of an effort did they make to get into that room?
They only got in that room. There's a very famous picture that I didn't show you there of this guy in a Viking hat standing on the podium with the fucking pole, like.
Yeah?
Yeah, like they were right in there. Like, that's what I mean. The picture I showed you, the guy walking away with smiling, waving, like.
Show me the Viking guy at the podium. That sounds very. Sounds very iconic.
No, it is. I have it on my phone. I didn't have it on my laptop.
It's my screensaver.
No, I showed you the.
Go on, the boys. Like, obviously, I don't enjoy violence and stuff, but again, that's deadly.
He does look pretty cool, not gonna lie. I'd say his profile picture is boss.
Again, just, especially if you're a new listener, I'm not inciting violence or anything, but we only look at the news from a news podcast perspective, and this is great. I'll go through the people who died then. So there was the woman who was shot in the head, an ex-army veteran. Then there was a police officer who had a fucking fire extinguisher thrown at his head. Jeez.
Yeah, that's terrible. Then a woman was trampled to death. And then there was a guy tased himself and had a heart attack. I seen something that said he tased himself in the balls, but I could not verify that. And then I think someone else died. I can't remember exactly how.
That's crazy. Like, just for this day and age, to have this sort of violence and stuff is
just, man, for a country to spend 750 billion on fucking defence a year, and you can't defend the Capitol Hill, and like Capitol Hill is on a normal day is one of the most defended buildings in the world, like and then they just let these fucking cunts just walk in, like
take like the 70,000 troops you have in Korea and bring them back to Capitol Hill. That is mad. So, and what was Trump's reaction?
He did say, go home. We love you, but go home. I think he tweeted a bit, but like I think immediately they did suspend his Twitter, so he couldn't really say anything. Right. So that's kind of all he really said was like, go home, be peaceful. And he did say he is going to transition power now.
Right.
He's not going to go to the inauguration.
The inauguration.
Yeah.
I thought at start, I just can't
He's
see
never
him.
going.
I couldn't see him shaking hands with whoever was succeeding him. You know what I mean? Unless he done his 2 terms.
No, he'd do that proper. Where you look away and shake the hand, like
limp. Cold fish of a handshake.
Mike Pence is gone.
Is he? Yeah.
So like I said, like half of the White House staff, all of them just jumped fucking ship. Like they're just pure career politicians. Like I mean, they were with Trump until the last moment, and now. Oh shit, I still need a career, fucking jumping back on the other side.
Even before this violence, you could see them doing that. Just like where he was, all these challenges and stuff. They could see it wasn't going to go anywhere. He wasn't going to win. So, months ago they were like...
Fair enough, I suppose.
Because he was going mad that, like, the likes of Mark Rubio and stuff, the top Republicans weren't saying that it was fixed, But when did the senators all get out?
Well, now there's pictures of them, like, lying down in the... I think they all did get out in the end, but they're lying down in the fucking, where they normally sit on the Senate, like, heads down, like,
lie down.
Which is just, it's
like American, sorry. You see those old school videos of them, like, in school in, like, the 60s, practicing for the nuclear bomb, like, get under your desk. That's just their answer to everything, you know what I mean? Like, lie down on the floor.
I think there was shots going, to be fair. But it was great to see, the people that would so easily bomb another country, you know, like it was ordering a morning coffee, just to see them cowering, you know what I mean, in the building where they'd normally order all the terror across the world. It was great to see them experience a bit of terror. I'm not going to lie, like.
And they won't get the...
Terror is a strong word.
It is terrorism, though.
No, but you know what I mean.
But, you know, they were doing the same, like, they're trying to do coups in Venezuela and the likes, and, like, what they normally do in a coup is storm the Capitol building, and then whoever they have their puppet, like Guaido or something, get them to stand on Capitol Hill and get that picture. So, you know what I mean? Maybe this Viking guy is the true leader of the United States.
Well, that's it, like, those...
How many arrests?
China and all, were, like, tweeting out, like, you know what I mean?
USA.
Yeah, like, Iran and all were loving it, you know what I mean? Like, which should, you know what I mean, saying should be invaded, you know what I mean, give them freedom and all. And, there's been fucking loads of arrests. All the famous protesters, like the Viking guy's been arrested, the guy holding the podium, the guy with his feet up in Nancy Pelosi's office, like the FBI has gone after all these people. And then people losing their jobs left, right and centre for going to this protest. Like, everyone is, like, not only is there huge amounts of arrests, because they're calling it an insurrection, like, you know, they're...
What's an insurrection?
Like, trying to overthrow the government. Do you know what I mean? Which
Trump comes back as the resurrection. The amount of Trump supporters I've heard compare him to Christ is ridiculously.
Who else is there? So there was, like, cops are losing their jobs just for being at the protest. Doesn't matter if you went into the building or not, just for being at the protesters. You know, I've seen, like, accountants, real estate agents, blah blah blah, fucking all of them. But then there was one girl who ratted out her own dad for being at the protest.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, they're all getting arrested, and yeah, it's just fuck, man. Like, it's just a crazy situation. To go back on the conspiracy aspect of it, like, the reason, like, I think they did let them in, like, it's just such a huge move. Like, it's like the tech dictatorship is here, and that's it. Paraphrasing, but that's what Edward Snowden said. He's like, yeah, you might be celebrating, but, like, Trump is gone in 13 days anyway. And this shit's gonna last, like, you know what I mean? The precedent that's been set here.
Yeah, especially the way they're reacting to protesters now. Like, the idea of arresting someone for a protest. It's like the next protest now that happens, when they break it up and arrest people, they will say, oh, well, it's because if we didn't, then they'd go to this lengths. They go this far. They storm the building, people will die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This will be held up as...
Absolutely. It's just anything right wing. But I don't even know. I think, like if fucking Ted Cruz or something gets in, I don't think they'll be as quick to, you know what I mean, shut him down as they were with Trump. Like,
once he's playing ball, it's
not. I mean, once he's playing ball with the deep state.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but in terms of Silicon Valley having control of the election and just American politics in general, even before today, so there was really close. Like, the Senate was really close to see who would control it, and I can't remember the exact states, but the Republican and the Democrat. So they're both trying to get funding to, you know what I mean, do their campaign. I don't know how it works, but, you know what I mean, even though the election happened, they were still trying to gain money to help their cause in some way. But the Republicans weren't allowed, like, on these platforms like Kickstarter or whatever. Like, the Republicans aren't allowed.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, so that's already meddling. And now, like, the president's, like, it's being set, like, it's just gonna ban everyone. Like, you can't just, I don't know at least you don't know what's gonna happen, but, like, everyone's like the United States of China, like, you know, because it is, like,
oh yeah,
it really is, like, this is, it's, I don't care what you think about Trump, like, this is seriously worrying. Like,
it's like, because, you know, in China they have your citizen score, like how good of a citizen you are. You know, if you jaywalk, as the Americans like to call it, just don't cross the road where you're supposed to, you get like a little minus score, and if you whatever help granny cross the road, you'll get a plus score. Like, it breaks it down to little things like that. But that is essentially what's going on here. Like, people getting fired for going to a protest. Now, I know a protest that turns violent, and I'm not aware of what really happened, but at the end of the day, people are losing their jobs for going to a protest. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck.
I'm really interested to see, like, look at where we are now compared to where we were 4 years ago. Another 4 years, and now you have, like, the Ronald Reagan of our era in power, in just terms of being an absolute puppet, and, like, yeah, you know what I mean, you literally do whatever he's told, because I don't think Biden has any genuine ideas in his head. Maybe being a little disparaging, but it's just his age I'm going off. He's nearly 80, like,
yeah.
Like, what 80-year-old really has fucking revolutionary ideas, you know? And especially, he won't be on top of the tech shit at all, you know? So just be very interested to see where we're at in 4 years.
Especially with the Democrats having the Senate, like, you know what I mean? They're very interested now to see what happens with COVID. Like, New York was talking about setting up camps for only during a pandemic, but, like, if you've been in contact, the bill is on its way to being put through, so it still might not come through or like be passed. But the camp is to, if you're sick, they can forcibly detain you and forcibly medicate you.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Because
I've been saying that to you for weeks. They're gonna set up fucking concentration camps. Like, it's not gonna be exactly a concentration camp, but you know what I mean. It's still gonna be a camp where they force people. This is why these, you know, the FEMA camps. Yeah. FEMA's the organisation that like looks after disasters and stuff. And this was even months ago, even years ago, before COVID. They had these camps that were meant to help people in times of hurricanes and stuff like that. There's a guy fucking driving down it, and it's just cage after cage after cage with a little toilet in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're gonna help people with hurricanes by fucking stuffing them in cages, like. Yeah. Oh, I'll leave that there, but you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking nuts.
Well, that's such a dangerous precedent, especially with COVID as well. It's like, oh, you're asymptomatic. You know what I mean? Like, they could just. You know, if there's someone they don't like, they can just say you have it. Like, oh, you've failed the test.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Even the guy who invented the fucking test said it's too easy to pass. Doesn't even mean you have COVID. So now they can just say, oh, we don't like you. You've COVID. You're getting fucking... So the bill will first pass, if it does pass. You know what I mean? It'll pass by saying that's in an emergency. But wait and see, man. Like, COVID hasn't gone away yet. It's been a year. If anything's getting worse, we could talk about that in a minute if you want. Like. We'll see if it ever fucking goes away.
Especially, you know, that PCR test. I don't know what PCR stands for, but it's one of the tests that they do. Yeah. And it's made to detect very small samples, but it amplifies it 40 times the actual sample that they use. But so they take a sample, then they double it, and then they double it again, and they do that 40 times. So the actual sample that they take, that's over 1 trillion times more. Like, like how much it sounds. That's what they need to actually detect COVID in your system, you know what I mean? And I was listening to a doctor talk about it. He was like, you know, it is a standard way of measuring for diseases, especially if like you're just starting to get it or something, you know what I mean? Like, you want a low threshold, but he was like, even if you did it 30 times, that's 1 billion or something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but he's like, that's kind of at the margins. But he's like, once you get to 1 trillion, it's like ridiculous, like, you know what I mean? Like, it supposedly has a 97% false positive rate, so nearly 1 in every 2 people will show positive when they aren't, or at least
the asymptomatic people.
Yeah, and like you're not contagious, you're not, and we just decide to say you have COVID. That's basically what's going on. Like, you might have a trace amount in your system, but if you're not contagious, that's the real marker of having COVID, isn't it?
And if you try to have this conversation online, you're going to be fact checked and you're false. Or if you're a doctor and you try to have the conversation, and you're going to get fired. But I'm sure it's all above board. But we're not onto COVID yet. One funny thing out of the whole Capitol Hill thing was, do you know Kyrie Irving, the basketball player? So he missed 2 games just because he wasn't in the right mental state after after the Capitol Hill riots. Like,
what was he playing Washington even, or?
No, he plays with New York Nets. So yeah, he had to miss 2 games. They lost one of those games, and he's one of their better players, I believe. I'm not big on me basketball. Like, talk about privilege. Privilege. All he has to do is go out and play basketball. Like. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if you know what I mean, it's just someone doing a normal day. Imagine you're a fucking accountant. Like, oh, I can't do the accounts today, you know, that Capitol Hill really. Actually, to be fair, they probably let you away with it these days with the safe spaces and fucking shit, you know what I mean? Oh, you okay? No, like, you okay, hon?
The accountant's a bad example because you're in an office and they probably would have that sort of sympathy. But imagine not going to your construction job. Like, you know, I can't pick up this steel because I'm too fucking down about what happened in Capitol Hill. So, no bother, Bill. Take the day off, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that guy, you know, especially if you're a sports star, your direct actions for what, a fucking hour, Kyrie. You know what I mean? Like, you can play basketball an hour. Literally,
it'll take your mind off it.
Can cost them millions, you know what I mean? Like, just how influential, like, you're a lot more influential than your average worker is what I'm trying to say, you know? So it's just like, I don't know. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's fucking gas. One thing has to be noted as well, the difference between, like the Democrats have been saying it's okay for people to be rioting and, you know, smashing up buildings for the last fucking 6-7 months. Yeah. You know, and as soon as the Republicans do it, it's, these are terrorists. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it is a bit different. They stormed the Capitol building, you know what I mean? It's not just smashing up shops, but just a very marked difference. Like, you're going to tell, literally saying to people that for the last 6, 8, 9 months that, you know what I mean, oh, you're not happy with shit, you know, fuck shit up, make the change. You know, when someone fucks it up and makes the change, like, oh my god, how dare you? Yeah, so that was kind of funny.
I wonder, like what was their plan? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you know,
No plan. Like,
that's what I mean, mob mentality.
Who's they?
But, you know, say they get in there and then it's just like, or we're going to do a new Declaration of Independence, you know what I mean? Trump president for life, and then just like, you know, email that to CNN.
I don't know, there was an Irish guy working for CNN from Kerry, and he was covering
I've seen
the
him a
news.
few times. Yeah.
I've never seen him. He's become a national celebrity now.
Has he? Yeah.
And everyone's
He's a little chubby kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, very.
He's adorable
unthreatening.
looking. Yeah.
He looks like he's a woman's best friend and has been for years. You know what I mean? Like,
perfect example. But everyone's like, "Oh, isn't he great?" It's like, you wouldn't say that if he was working for North Korean national news. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Everyone's saying what a great guy he is, but like, anyone that works, he's just reporting on the news. But I mean, if you work for, because like in Ireland, everyone's like, oh, this, because everyone like watching it, and then there's an Irish guy reporting. Yeah, I haven't heard him or seen his accent or whatever, but I'm just making the point that I don't see him as a national treasure working for CNN. Like, you know what I mean? But to say that if he's working for Fox News, do you know what I mean? Like, they're both the two sides of the same coin, like of just propaganda. Like, you know.
He does though. I remember like seeing him.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
He's very looks very non-threatening, and he has a proper Irish accent, which is weird to see on American TV. You know,
how strong is it? It can't be that strong.
It's strong enough that he hasn't watered it down for the Americans, but it's not strong. You know,
saying how you buy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, all these cunts going into Capitol Hill.
Absolute mad crack.
You calm down, gee.
Have you relax? That was a throwback to
Healy
Ray.
So yeah, where do we going from here? And then it's just waiting for the inauguration, like.
Well, if he might get impeached, like I said. You know what I mean? They might literally kick him out of office, and then I don't know if Trump or if Pence comes in, which is just ridiculous. Like, no, Nancy Pelosi. Like, as always, Nancy Pelosi needs to chill the fuck out. Like, but she wants to get the nuclear codes off him. She's like, he can't have the nuclear codes. Like, even Trump isn't gonna just nuke someone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like who? You know what I mean? Like, he's just gonna nuke Washington. Like, and I don't know how the procedure works, but I'm pretty sure there's two keys. Like, even if the president has one, like
checks and balances. What a stupid thing to say.
And there was an argument that Nancy Pelosi technically caused treason because she was like trying to get the military to get rid of Trump. You know what I mean? She literally went directly to the head of the military and like, here, can you sort this out? It's like, that's not how it works, Nancy. Like, you absolute fucking mad thing. Like,
she is mad in that way. Like, I don't, you know, she appears to be, like you said, that's completely treasonous right there. You might think you have your reasons, but so does everyone who commits treason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So just take a quick sec to do the usual plug. If you could give us a like, follow, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We're also going to start putting up the episodes on YouTube and some of the videos that we do come across, you know, news videos such as the police opening the gate that we mentioned today. So if you could do all that, it would really help us out a lot. It always does, and we appreciate everyone that's done it so far.
Fucking everything mad happens on your week. We always say this. You got the Beirut bomb blast, George Floyd, I'm trying to think what else, the aliens landing. I don't know, like, I've had some good
not the aliens land, that's a bit misleading. But when
listen to episode 7. And
speaking of the aliens landing, like, or them saying that they're going to release the information. The start of the week I can't remember which newspaper it was, but a major one, you know what I mean, saying, oh, they're going to release it. And I was like, yeah, I know, you told us this 6 fucking months ago. And then CNN today said it again like it's brand new news. They just keep major publications. It makes sense if they all do it at once, do you know what I mean? But they just keep, week by week, a different publication is just putting it there. It's just weird, like, that it's such a drawn out thing. Yeah. I personally think it's all foreplay. We won't get back into the aliens because they're coming this year.
I really do think they are, especially after watching Joe Rogan podcast with two lads who just released a documentary on aliens, you know, which I haven't watched yet. But
playing devil's advocate before you say anything else, because I haven't seen this, it sounds like they would say that aliens are coming if they're guys who made a documentary. Yeah. But finish your point before you argue mine. I was just joking.
But they were saying they mentioned numerous examples, obviously, of aliens landing and things like that, and just discussing the whole phenomenon. I think that's the name of the documentary. It's called The Phenomenon. But they were saying, like, one of them is one of the guys in it is Charles Duval or some French guy. He's like 80. He's been working for NASA for years. He's just a computer scientist, mathematician.
Nerd.
He was the first guy to map Mars or something like that, you know. So he just has an interest in it. And it's the other guy who made the documentary. But they were just saying, just amongst the community of like top intelligence people, politicians, everybody, it's an open secret basically that from what they're saying that they know about it. But just from the 50s and 60s, it was like they thought the idea would
freak people out.
Yeah, which it definitely would. Imagine the 60s, like you're still in your box is so small, and now it's been opened up like what world you live in. And now just like the idea that people will be freaked out by it now is just ridiculous. Like looking around and asking people about it. Like,
well,
I think it would fundamentally change society, but it wouldn't freak people out. It wouldn't scare people.
No, I don't think it would scare people. Like in the I think it was the 30s. I only heard this last night. In the 30s, there was the time when we were closest to Mars, and it's the closest we'd been to Mars for fucking years, like decades or centuries. I don't know how the fucking orbits of each work.
Yeah.
But it was the time when we were the closest. It was in the 30s, so they're like, oh, if there are Martians on Mars, they're going to send us radio signals. So for like a couple of days, or maybe just one day, for 5 minutes every hour, they got the whole fucking country to turn off their radios just so that they could get all this fucking signals, and they had the US government had a cryptographer there ready to decode any codes that they did send. Like they were ready and waiting, and like the whole American public knew this. So that's in the 30s, you know what I mean? So I don't think it would be as big a fucking shock as they try to say. I think the only reason they don't tell us is because they were trying to reverse engineer the technology before the Russians or the Chinese.
Yeah, you could go into a number of reasons of why and stuff, but in that doc, your man was saying one particular case, and I'm going to watch this documentary just for this incident, but he says in Zimbabwe, I think it was, some African country, in the 90s, apparently a spacecraft landed in front of 100 school children. A couple of aliens got out, and they literally just talked to them telepathically. They told them that to beware of technology that's going to ruin Earth.
No way.
And and then they just flew off. And
why the fuck would they tell school kids in Africa?
This is what they thought. If you go up to a fucking military base, they're gonna blow your head off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose they just thought, we're just telling someone.
And if you were to think about it from like, because this is the thing about like aliens, like it's gonna assume that they're very intellectual. So it's like, we'll tell the next generation. Kids are the most open to new information, and then when they grow up, they can enact change. But obviously, nobody listens to them. And they didn't talk in as much detail, but.
Those poor kids are probably fucking mining the minerals that go into our smartphones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Harsh truths. But in the documentary, apparently, because it's been 20 years, he meets up with all the kids.
That was only 20 years ago, was it?
It was in the 90s, so.
Yeah.
Meets up with
I was a kid in the 90s. Stall it down to fucking Dublin.
He meets up with all the. Meets up with as many of them as he can, and they all recount it. And like Joe Rogan saying, he watched the documentary, he was like, they're all mad convincing, you know what I mean? He's just like, they're clearly not actors, wild. You know. Yeah, it is. But apparently happened in Australia, also in the 90s, in front of like 300 people.
What?
But just nobody talks about it.
What the hell does that not get talked about?
Because
what do they look like?
Exactly like the small,
the greys.
Yeah, the little trial-sized aliens with the big eyes and the big head. Exactly like Spielberg.
Oh my god.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
So wild.
And did you know, I didn't know about Roswell, but you know when that crash landed, and they
said it was aliens.
They said it was aliens, and then the next day said, no, actually it's a weather balloon, and they sent out this picture, and there's 3 guys in front of like weather balloon debris, but 2 of those guys before they died said that was bullshit, like we were just making cover. So the more he detailed it, and there's more stories I can tell you about that he mentions, but it's just like
definitely watching that.
That's what just like
just for me and the fans, listeners. What's Joe Rogan and?
It's number 1574 because I texted you about it.
1574.
Yeah, I can't remember. James Fox and Charles Duval or something.
Yeah, the documentary's called The Phenomenon.
Yeah.
I've said it before, but I'm so excited to find out. Like, I want to know where they're from. What's their, like, I want to see pictures of their society, like.
Yeah. Do they have personalities, or are they all more uniform than we are? Because I think as organisms we're very diverse, you know what I mean? Like think about, first of all, just physically, just the mountain, and then you've got like, you know what I mean, like some guy who's 4'11",
Yeah.
You know, like the mountain from Game of Thrones. But then just personality-wise, you got Einstein's to the guy who tasered his nuts, you know what I mean? Like, but
these nuts.
I imagine because that's why I don't think people will make it to advanced civilization and space travel, because I think we're going to implode before that because we're just too stupid. But if an alien society has gotten this far, I reckon they're more ant-like and they have more of a colony mentality, more of a group think than. Do you get me?
Possibly.
We're way too individual. Yeah, but I love to know. Do they play sport?
Are they funny?
Yeah, this humour part of it. You know what I mean? Are they vicious? You know what I mean? Do they like fucking like we like the Colosseum and stuff, and watching each other getting killed or like the shit kicked out of each other? So many questions. What did they evolve from? What were they like? You know, if they're advanced now, you know, we used to be monkeys. What did they used to be? Everything.
Yeah, how long have they been around? They've been around for millions of years, like.
Yeah.
Far away, all that, but sure.
Well, you could literally talk all day.
Yeah, literally. Speaking of aliens, Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world.
Oh wait, really? Richer than Bezos?
Yeah.
Tell me Tesla's worth that much.
Tesla's went fucking mental in the last year, like 7 times its share value.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's 180 billion or so that he's worth now. So it's overtaken.
Jeez.
It's overtaken. It
can't
be sustained. This is the first year that Tesla has even made a profit.
Yeah.
It can't be fucking sustainable. But
it can if everyone's going to electric cars, though. You know?
It can, yeah, that's true. Especially with like. They were saying that what tipped over the edge was Biden getting the Senate and the thing, because they're gonna make it carbon tax and all. And
I see.
there
wasn't any like radical new invention in the last week. It was just
no, it's just that.
I would have thought still Amazon was worth fucking way more.
So would I. Like, and
way more. I know he got divorced and all. But...
Well, that's the divorce is what made the difference in the end. You know, if he didn't get divorced, he would still be the richest. So it's splitting hairs really, but like I'm no fucking financial investor, but Amazon is a much more sound investment right now, if you know what I mean. Like it's not going anywhere. Like Tesla could fucking implode, because at the moment it's worth like the rest of the car industry combined. You know
Tesla,
I mean? Yeah, it has to be inflated. Like
that's crazy. Yeah, because it's obviously share price means implied future value. You know. Yeah,
well, Elon Musk did like have a laugh at everyone betting against Tesla last year, because they've lost loads of money. You know, we went 7 times. Like,
yeah, that's nuts. I do like the fact that the richest guy in the world is one of the smartest. Do you know what I mean? I like having a really smart guy as the richest guy instead of just.
Still Bezos, like he said, half his money is going to set up on Mars. Do you know what I mean? And half of it's going to make the world better. So I don't know. I believe Elon. Like, you know, and as much as I'm fucking. Like not a fan of billionaires, should we say, just because I'm salty. But
it's because I know I'll never be one.
Yeah, we'll see how the podcast goes. So yeah, hopefully can do all that. Be interesting to see. He's saying, I can't remember, what's like he's trying to get there soon. Like
he knows, he's writing on the wall. He's like I don't want to worry everyone because they won't invest in Tesla, but we got like 15 years to get off this planet.
Yeah,
you know?
For real.
He's not there. He's gonna be like 80. He's sent like 20 different fucking ships to Mars full of people to set up a new colony. Each keeps dying, you know what I mean? Like, but he just keeps convincing people to go.
Could be. They've set one up in the desert at the moment, like as a simulation, as a trial run for Mars, you know, that they're like doing with robots and all, and
yeah.
So I don't know, I'd say you can do it.
That would be the fucking worst. Like living in the like you're on Mars, so you live in this bubble where you can't step outside. And if you want to contact Earth, like they send a message, then they have to wait. I don't know how long the delay is, but it's fucking long, like it's like like a couple hours. And then they get the message and then they just send it back. So like imagine texting and you're able to text and then it's only like 6 hours later you get the message.
That'd be sweet. I fucking hate text. She can't text you all day, like. So yeah, Elon's making the money. Twin news, man.
Yeah, the best kind of news.
Not just any twin news, identical twin news.
Is there any other type of twin?
Not other type of twin that anyone cares about.
Exactly.
So me and you are identical twins, so obviously close to our hearts, but apparently so the twins are used a lot in studies, you know, in nature versus nurture studies.
Horror films as well.
Yeah, horror films.
They're just weird, right?
Yeah. They really are. I seen recently the twins from The Shining. They look weird even as adults. Like, they just got these fucking eyes on them. I don't know what's going on.
I thought, yeah, but, I wonder was that makeup, the big black eyes that they had, but obviously not for the story.
It's just the way they look like.
I assume because Stanley Kubrick made that, and he's real, like, he's into his art, shall we say, like the woman in that who played Jack Nicholson's wife. He tortured her through the whole film just so she'd be on edge, you know. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if he made those kids stay up for like 2 days in a row. You know,
done Clockwork Orange with them just to get the effect on their eyes, like.
Yeah. Also his film.
Was it? Yeah. No, so apparently there was a big study done in Iceland. You know, really in-depth study, but they found that there's so many genetic mutations between, like when you're born, on average, the identical twins have 5.2 genetic mutations, some as much as 100.
Compared to baseline average people, like. Or...
Well, you can't do baseline because no one else is identical twins.
Compared to the other twin.
Yeah, compared to the other twin.
Yeah,
so like it's enough. That so they used to think that any differences in twins was from like diet or external factors, but there just is that many genetic mutations after you're born that, you know, that I don't know, they're saying, can you really even call them identical?
Really?
You know,
you definitely can.
Yeah, you definitely can, and I still would, like, no, not because of.
But we aren't the most identical twins as well, you know, so that is interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's just interesting for the studies. You know, they're always done like with twins, so maybe we might lose out on that sweet study money.
How do you feel when you see 2 twins together and they really look the same? I get creeped out by them.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, adult twins are weird. That's why we started mentioning on the show, but someone told us that. But I think we should, after this show, we don't mention it ever again.
It's like being a gay actor in the 90s or something. Like, just don't mention
we're in the closet. Like. No, this is my cousin.
But there literally is nothing fucking weirder than adult twins who dress the same. Remember you sent me that picture of the two of them walking. One of them had a fucking girlfriend holding her hand, and then just the other one was beside the two of them.
Yeah,
like,
they
dressed
like,
the exact same.
They were like 25 or something. I think that was in Romania, in a fucking shopping centre. But, you know, so maybe you could say that's just a Romanian thing. But yeah, how fucking weird is that being adults? But on the article, which twins did they have on the headline?
Me and you.
If you had to guess.
It's Jebbard.
Yeah.
Did they actually?
Yeah. Which I think we've talked about them on the podcast before. But yeah, no, and then they just scroll down and they're just other famous twins, and it just always looks weird because they're all like I can't remember the other examples, like just some cunts from the 80s and stuff. It just always
Mary Kate and Ashley.
The Proclaimers. they didn't look too weird. They look kind of normal, you know.
They had a rough working class look about them. I don't know why that matters.
Oh, it does, yeah, it makes it better.
Maybe just he wouldn't slag them for being, he wouldn't bully them for being twins. It's general, I'd say you get a lot of shit.
Oh yeah. I don't know, do you know what it is? Especially if you try to dress fancy but then you're dressed the same, like they're just dressed normal. Actually no, they just weren't dressed the same. I think that's the main point, isn't it?
It is the number one thing with twins is don't dress the same. That's why if you look at our icon start, I've got long hair. Ty used to have a big beard, but now he's shaved it off. But he's still short hair.
And like I literally, by law, I can't grow it long. just so we stay different, you know.
Yeah, my mum said she wouldn't talk to him anymore.
Yeah. Then a bit of coronavirus news, but keep it funny. There was.
I want to know though, because like Ireland's cases exploded right before I went down. Like it was like our highest ever since the pandemic started was like 1,000 and a bit of change
per
day, and then it was 5,000 new cases per day on Sunday, so it was like 4 or 5 times most ever. How we looking?
I think it was like 8,000 the other day.
Yeah,
like if you can do this yourself, if you Google Ireland coronavirus cases, like it is just shot straight up. So yeah, our hospital and stuff are getting, like, our ICU beds are pretty fucking, we're almost at capacity. You know, like where it's full.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay coronavirus, but when it started to spike before they stopped looking at the news, they were talking about how it's like, well, the ICU beds, they're nearly overrun. Now they're only at 30% capacity. But at this time of year, there's always stuff. Always, because our hospitals aren't big enough. There's always people on trolleys who have just had a heart attack and they're in the fucking hallway. Nobody cared then, you know what I mean? But now we have to care, you know? I'm not getting into that argument, but it's just funny. I hope if this does happen to go away in 2 or 3 years' time, we still have this sort of panic about the ICU beds being full, you know what I mean?
Well, hopefully we just get more ICU beds, because compared to the rest of Europe, we have half the amount of ICU beds per capita than everyone else.
Really?
Which, you know, I mean, that's the real problem of our healthcare system.
Yeah, it's not because we're all going to the fucking pub.
Yeah, or house parties, which the Irish politicians keep saying, "Oh, stop having house parties and shit." No, that's not the excuse. It's that they've been systematically defunding our healthcare system to try push us towards private healthcare for the last 15, 20 years. That's the real fucking problem here.
And are they extra shutting down everything? Because we were supposed to be at level 5, our highest, and then I went to.
There was some talk about like changing the. Like at the moment, you're not meant to go more than 5 kilometers from your house.
Yeah.
And there was talk of making that 2 kilometers, which would have just been stupid. But like, there's no more. There's no more.
You could close everything. I went to just the local shopping centre near us pavilions, and fucking everything's open except for the fucking clothes shops. Literally, the only thing closed was clothes shops. Coffee shops are open. The fucking ice cream shop was open. Not even a gelato, like a fancy ice cream place. But just for some reason made it worse. It was because the restrictions in Ireland at the minute is you're not even allowed to go visit another person's house. Like, you're not even allowed to go stand in the garden the way you used to talk through the window.
You're not allowed
That's
to
not
garden.
But you're allowed to go get a fucking coffee. Like, it makes no sense. Like, if you're literally not making money from what you're doing, you're not allowed to do it. And it's just pissing me off. Like, because shut everything down. We need, like, it seems like we need it if it's spiking and this disease is dangerous as everyone's saying.
But we still haven't even started using the private healthcare beds yet. So I don't know how many private healthcare ICU beds there are, but there'll be a fucking lot. We've already paid 900 million to the private healthcare, and we haven't used a single bed. Right now, that was in the first deal, so I don't know if they have a new one on the lockdown. But Leo says, "Oh, we'll have to ask to see if we can use the beds."
Please, sir.
Like, so maybe 900 fucking million. Ireland is a small country. Yeah, you brought up all this shit. I was going to talk about funny stuff. I wasn't even going to talk about coronavirus.
I just wanted to ask about the numbers.
Yeah, numbers went mad. Then there was a doctor in Miami who just died. He was perfectly healthy, but he died after getting the vaccine.
Really?
The CDC's looking into that, yeah.
Really?
Then, like, I've seen other videos of fucking, I don't know, a lot of people getting fucked up from it, but we won't go there. Look into that stuff if you want yourself. I was going to tell you a funny story in the UK. So they're on serious lockdown with the new strain of coronavirus. So there's these two women, so they went out for a walk and they had a fucking cup of tea with them. Police stopped them and said that cup of tea counted as a picnic. Fined them £200.
What?
Yeah, they're outside walking just by themselves.
This is crazy.
So to be fair, the British police have said no, that was bang out of order. You know, that shouldn't have happened. And they've given guidelines since, but yeah, that's just wild. Like, fucking wild. They're going mad.
So are they just super locked down in England, are they, with their new variant? Or like, are the cases exploded just in Ireland, or is it everywhere?
The UK, I don't know about anywhere else other than that.
Yeah.
They're saying now the scientists in South Africa have said that the vaccine actually makes the South African coronavirus is worse if you've had one dose of the vaccine. So everyone's getting one dose and they have to wait a couple months, and then this other one's going to spread and it makes it fucking worse. So you know what I mean? But that hasn't been peer reviewed or anything. So basically, when we started this podcast, almost a fucking year, like what, 9 months ago?
Yeah.
There was, coronavirus was the big thing, and it's just got worse. Like, it's exponentially worse. They were on a tougher lockdown. The cases are much worse. Literally, nothing's better. So I hope that makes you feel good on this Monday morning if you're listening to it when it's just out.
We did, I know I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but like, we had this idea for a podcast well before the coronavirus started. And then it was like, but we were about in different countries and stuff, and weren't in the right place to do it. But then like the day we had the phone call to say that, all right, I think we're going to start in like April or May or something, whenever you were back from Scotland. And then it was the next day Ireland went lockdown. Like, it seems normal now, but the first time we actually got locked down was insane. Such a big news story.
Yeah.
So it's like the biggest news story in my life. So I started like the day after we had a phone call, started a news podcast, I still think that's mad. So I was hoping in season 3 it'd be like, oh, they've actually cured it, and
we can move on from it. No, unfortunately, it's the new normal, as they said 2 days after the fucking whole thing started.
Yeah, get used to it. Alright, but fuck them.
Yeah, we'll leave the COVID there.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure like everyone.
You can still have fun
fucking-
in your house just with no other people around. It's fine. You gotta make you want to make the best of life.
Yeah, just get your vaccine and die. And everything will be fine.
At this stage, I'll nearly take it just with no fucking out about, man.
Yeah.
Please,
that's
sir, come
it.
in.
Isn't that the whole fucking point?
It is. It's to make us so desperate. Take it, but
Yeah. Do you want to hear about Kamala Harris pandering?
to minorities.
Yeah.
I knew this.
Not necessarily to minorities, but
Just using the word pandering. It's like
like I've never seen a black person pander to the African American community so much. So she had this. So she's been telling this story for a couple of years, and it's even in her biography. So she's at a civil rights protest when she was a kid, like so young that she's in a stroller. Right? So she's that young. So a police officer comes up and I don't know exactly what he said. Let me get this up, word for word.
Did she have an in-depth debate from her stroller about the problems of racial inequality?
Well, no, I can't remember exactly how the setup goes, but the police officer says, "What do you want?" And she says, "Freedom."
She didn't put the fooey on it.
Freedom. Like even in her book, it's spelled FWEEDOM.
Oh, stop!
And it's like,
Stop.
Did you? Did you really?
Yeah.
But what makes that even more interesting is that Martin Luther King had a story which was actually published in Playboy in like 1965, which said when he was at a protest, there was a little girl like walking with her mother, because anyone that young is not gonna say that, like no matter fucking what. And yeah, basically he said the same thing. Didn't put the W in. He just said, mispronounced it. He said he was like, yeah, she could, like he said the girl couldn't even say it, but the police officer, when she said it to him, and it was like such a powerful, story. So basically, Kamala Harris has just taken that story and said it was herself. Now you might say, oh, that could be her, but at the time when Martin Luther done the article for Playboy, Kamala Harris was 1 year old. You know what I mean? So literally, there's no chance it's her. She just completely took the story and said it was her. And
that's funny.
She's just a bleeding. I don't know. I'd be pissed off if I was black. Like, you can't just be making this shit up. Like, can't be stealing Martin Luther's fucking stories, like, and claiming them as your own.
Yeah, Biden's worse though, with his story saying he was detained in South Africa for fighting against racial injustice, and then that story changed to he was made go through the white. I don't know. Yeah, then he said he wasn't actually at a protest. It was at the airport. He was made go through the white door instead of the black security, and he refused. And then it turns out that he didn't refuse. He just had to go through a white door, you know what I mean? Instead of the black door. Just making it up, like, it's fucking gas.
It's like Hillary saying she wrote to NASA asking could she be an astronaut, and they wrote back saying, no, we don't accept women. And she said she was a little girl, but like at the time when they done the first astronauts, she was like fucking 16 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not true. Like, just not true at all. Alright, so we'll call it a day there.
That's our episode for today. Hope you enjoyed it. That's a fucking great way to come back, I have to say.
Yeah, all guns blazing.
Yeah, really didn't let it decide down America. I always had faith in it.
Yeah. So keep it coming.
Imagine how many big stories are coming out that are happening in China, but you don't hear about. You know what I mean? Like, just because they're so insulated. Like there's a billion people in China. Maybe they just aren't as mad as Americans. Americans had 250 years of freedom. You know that screws with a person's head.
Do you know what the average length of an empire is? I've seen that someone posted. It's like if you Google it, I haven't double checked now, but I've seen someone post it. It's 245 years is the average length of an empire through history, and then they implode. And like America's 250.
Sure, Roman Empire went longer. British Empire went longer. Although at their peak, the British was probably about 250 years. Yeah, you know.
And then the Americans might went longer, but then say the Mongolians were short. On average, it's 250. You know, it doesn't mean that.
I believe it. Let's just say it right. Yeah. So that's pretty much all we have for today. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.
Just before we go, we do have to say we decided to cut the bonus episodes for a number of reasons. One, because you cunts weren't listening to it anyway. When we're checking our analytics, a lot of people do stop listening at the end. So and it's a lot of extra work, which we weren't really getting much out of. So we decided to cut out the bonus episodes.
Yeah, we just went. we're putting a full week's worth of work in, but some of them stories just deserve like weeks. You know what I mean? Like when they started to notice some of the stories that were done on other podcasts, they were, you know what I mean? We weren't given enough time to make it worth it. So we just focus on last week's news and having a crack, and think we'll give you a better show this way.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's our episode for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we shall be back next week with more shenanigans.
Thanks for listening. Take care.
See you.